Coming up next on Good Morning El Paso, the largest school district in town could be closing some schools, and that has some parents up in arms. How they're trying to get their voices heard.
Free community college, tax cuts, and paid sick leave. We're taking a deeper look this morning at President Obama's State of the Union address.
And as many of you start to fill out those tax returns this year, there are some big changes to know about. We'll tell you what to look out for.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Good Morning El Paso. I'm Hillary Floren.
And I'm Stephanie Valle. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is 6 o'clock, and things may be warm today, but it won't be the case tomorrow.
That's right. Let's get to Crystal Clyde right now. She has a first alert in effect, and she's here to tell us why. Good morning.
Hi, Stephanie, Hillary. Good morning. We are looking at a great forecast still today through the beginning of the day. But as we move into the evening and overnight, we start to really see those changes hit. Your first alert in effect for your Thursday into Friday morning. Here's the deal. We're looking today, we're ahead of a storm system tracking our direction. That means extra clouds, winds picking up, and also a very slight chance of rain. But by your Thursday, the bulk of cold air arrives with a secondary cold front. Temperatures plummet, and we'll also see a rain and rain-snow mix possible in the forecast with windy conditions. All of that together making it a rough Thursday forecast. By Friday, though, we do start to see things get a little bit better. We'll check in on that coming up in just a bit. But for now, here's your temperatures. We're at 40 in El Paso. Winds are calm officially, although breezy in West El Paso. For Las Cruces, we're at 41. It feels like 37 outside, and again, windier conditions right up against the Organ Mountains are expected. Those winds thanks to a current cold front that's passing our area. We'll check in on that just minutes away.
All right. Thanks so much, Crystal.
Happening later today, a meeting will be held at the headquarters of the El Paso school districts, and it could ultimately lead to the closures of some schools.
And obviously, some residents are very unhappy with this idea. We have Good Morning El Paso's Andrew J. Polk live right now with details. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Hillary and Stephanie. Zavala Elementary, right here behind me in South Central El Paso, is one of the schools that has been suspected to be up for shutdown, and that has neighbors in the community as well as community groups upset and working to oppose any such plans. Now, the EPISD meeting later today will discuss findings by a steering committee and the idea of schools closing down, as one group of El Pasoans very upset. The El Paso Grassroots Organization is trying to rally everyone from all schools and the community to stand together and make their voice heard. The group says board members need to visit and experience the communities affected and consider options beyond just shutting down schools, and to increase the transparency of this entire process for stakeholders.
They don't even come to our communities, shadow us, see what we go through throughout the day, see what our kids experience. They choose not to.
And the meetings happening later today will be public but not have public comment. It will be held at 2:30 at the EPISD headquarters. For more information on this and what's going on, click on this article on KVIA.com. So for now, reporting live in South Central El Paso, Andrew J. Polk, ABC7.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Sticking with school news, the Socorro School District is happy this morning. Last night, a hearing was held to go over the results of the Texas Academic Performance Report. The report found that the district and all its schools met standard in all of the categories measured in the state accountability system. 69% of campuses' academic achievement distinctions.
Like EPISD, the Ysleta Independent School District is also dealing with a shrinking population. Both the districts are now figuring out ways to reinvest in their aging facilities. The goal, to rebuild them as 21st century learning environments.
The classroom space has really changed for 21st century learning. It isn't about these nice, neat little rows, and the emphasis isn't classroom management. It really is about collaboration, students collaborating with one another, communicating with one another, small group instruction, project-based learning. It requires technology in the classroom.
Both districts now encourage BYOD, bring your own device, allowing students to connect with Wi-Fi for academic purposes. Ideally, both districts want to transition to a paperless classroom where students are issued tablets or laptops and do everything online. To upgrade all the facilities will cost hundreds of millions of dollars. It's why both EPISD and YISD are counting on bond elections to move their districts into the next century.
Fresh off of the State of the Union speech, President Obama is on his way to Idaho today to begin selling his proposals to the American people.
The president pledging to work with Republicans, but also unveiled an agenda steeped in Democratic priorities. Here's ABC's Susan Salney in Washington.
The shadow of crisis has passed, and the State of the Union is strong.
President Obama unveiled an ambitious State of the Union agenda for his final 2 years in office, emboldened by rising job approval ratings and an improving economy.
Since 2010, America has put more people back to work than Europe, Japan, and all advanced economies combined.
The president took credit, claiming a vindication of his Democratic policies.
Middle-class economics works. Expanding opportunity works. And these policies will continue to work as long as politics don't get in the way.
The president's priorities included middle-class tax cuts, paid sick leave, free community college education, and child care help for the middle class, all paid for with tax increases on the wealthiest Americans. He also called for a resolution from Congress to authorize the use of force against ISIS. Freshman Senator Joni Ernst delivered a Republican response that was grim in contrast to the president's upbeat view.
Americans have been hurting, but when we demanded solutions too often, Washington responded with the same stale mindset that led to failed policies like Obamacare.
Perhaps the feistiest moment of the night, an unscripted comment toward the end of the speech.
I have no more campaigns to run. My only agenda, I know because I won both of them.
And now President Obama is taking the traditional post-State of the Union road trip, bringing his message to Idaho and Kansas this week. Susan Salney, ABC News, Washington.
New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez also outlined her priorities in a State of the State address. Governor Martinez says those priorities are the state's children. She said in this 60-day session, state leaders must focus on teacher pay, holding children accountable in the classroom, and clarifying state law when it comes to the reporting of suspected child abuse and neglect cases. Martinez says kids need to be the focus when talking economic growth as well. Texas now has its first new governor in 14 years.
Greg Abbott, do solemnly swear.
I, Greg Abbott, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
Of Governor of the State of Texas.
Of Governor of the State of Texas.
And will to the best of my...
At a swearing-in ceremony yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott promised to stay as defiantly conservative as ever. He vowed to battle Washington on spending, regulation, and any federal initiative he believes will rob the state of its freedom. Abbott is the first governor in the state's history to use a wheelchair, and his wife is the first Latina First Lady for the state.
There is already some tension swirling around the new governor. Cities across the state are concerned he wants to limit their local power. Abbott says he wants to rein in cities, specifically saying cities should not be allowed to ban fracking. Fracking is that method used by oil companies dumping millions of gallons of chemical-induced water into the ground. Abbott says that if someone wants to allow fracking on their own property, a city should not be allowed to stop them. The El Paso city attorney says what's troubling here is these are usually measures put on by the ballot and voted by residents.
One area of concern for cities is an anti-city sentiment that seems to be growing and a move away from local control.
The city of El Paso is part of the Texas Municipal League, whose president sent a letter to Abbott telling him city ordinances reflect the will of the local taxpayers. City supporters say Abbott is overreaching, much like the way Abbott accuses Washington of doing to taxes.
And it's 6:09 and time to take a look at our TxDOT traffic camera network. Looking over at I-10 and Trans Mountain, you can see traffic is starting to pick up just a bit out there, but no problems to report at this point.
Did you buy a ticket to go see funny man Kevin Hart? There was a lot of buzz that people were excited he was coming.
Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see him. The performance has been rescheduled. We'll tell you for when later in the show.
And the first of its kind here in the States, the new digital wall downtown will soon be ready.
We'll let you know when you can expect to see it in action. But first, some big changes coming to the borderland. Meteorologist Crystal Clyde has more on our first alert. Crystal.
Don't be fooled by yesterday's nice conditions or the slight drop in temperatures today. We're forecasting a big change by your Thursday. We've got your first alert coverage after the break.
This is ABC 7, where news comes first.